Brazil's economic activity data showed yet another fall today of minus 0.63%. We have NIESR research fellow with us to provide his insight. Miguel, how do you assess the impact of the Federal Reserve's rate hike on Brazil's economy to date?
Well, the figure for economic activity released today adds to the retraction observed in business confidence, which continues the downward path initiated at the beginning of the year. Therefore, this change is in line with dull prospects for investment, given persistent exchange rate depreciation and a mounting crowding out effect owing to a growing government budget deficit. On the other hand, according to data released by the National Statistics Institute, the jobless rate seems to have fallen to 7.5% last month from about 8% in October. However, this figure is not seasonally adjusted and probably just masks a seasonal effect linked to the upcoming Christmas holiday sales, which lead to temporary rises in job hires. So given our prediction here at NIESR of a contraction in GDP at around 2.9% this year and 0.6% in 2016, and the latest figure you mentioned of receding economic activity, we do believe this fall in unemployment to be temporary and for the trend in unemployment rate to continue on the rise in the new year. Now, the beginning of interest rate normalization in the U.S., marked by the decision on Wednesday by the Fed to raise its funds rate by 25 basis points, was, for the most part, an expected move in capital markets. So it most likely has contributed to the observed negative outturn figure for economic activity in Brazil that you mentioned. And going forward, it will definitely continue to weigh on aggregate investment in Brazil, as foreign capital flows away from the country, also driven by unfavorable domestic factors such as political problems surrounding the fiscal deficit and corruption allegations. So all in all, this very recent Fed's rate hike is set to reinforce ongoing pressures on the exchange rate and inflation in Brazil, and thereby discourage aggregate investment.
Okay, Fitch's rating agency have mirrored a similar move made by Standard & Poor's in cutting Brazil's sovereign credit rating to junk status. What are the key implications of this as Brazil desperately tries to recover?
Right. Well, since the decision to lower Brazil's sovereign rating was made public, partly due to government corruption allegations, it has acted and will undoubtedly continue to act as a deterrent to foreign investment. At the same time, access to international capital markets for domestic borrowers will most likely come at a higher premium, at a higher cost. And the negative effects of this revision to the country's rating will most likely be reinforced also by the increase 2 days ago in the Fed's funds rate. These two factors alone are expected to put further downward pressure on the real, and what this means is that aggregate investment will ultimately suffer, it will take the toll. And this comes at a time when the economic situation is in desperate need of investment in infrastructure and other productive uses. Therefore, to answer your question, such revision to Brazil's solvency rating definitely has profound negative implications that will be reinforced by monetary policy normalization started 2 days ago in the US.
And lastly for today, Brazil's tumultuous 2015 can be reflected in the real's nearly 33% slide against the US dollar this year. Though as we are about to move into a new calendar year, is there any sign of hope, or will things likely continue to get worse?
Well, after Wednesday's 25 basis point hike in short-term interest rates by the Fed, the real can be expected to depreciate even further, and so things look set to get worse in the medium term. Even though the real seems to have regained some of the territory lost since the Fed's announcement in the last 2 days, movement in the capital markets might come with a lag, and the value of the real is likely to continue on the downward path. So to sum up, to answer your question, the outlook for the Brazilian economy at the moment seems quite bleak, and the risks to this outlook seem to be mainly on the downside.
Thank you, Miguel. Be sure to check back with Dukascopy TV for more updates next week. Until then, have a good weekend and see you next time.